They took the flag away.
They brought it in the other room.
Someone's playing capture the flag.
So is that our sign? Okay, good evening. This is the the May 27th meeting of the Harwich Planning Board. My name is Duncan Berry. I'm the chair of the board. We're meeting at 732 Main Street in Harwich Center in the small conference room this evening at 6:30, and I'm declaring this meeting open. Normally in the large room we would stand and do a pledge of allegiance, but this evening we don't have a flag, so we will not do an imaginary pledge. The first item of business tonight is actually going to be to continue or to process a request for continuation of PB number 2025-09, Jeff Lang and Sandra Wyckoff, owners, through David J. Crispin, PE of BSD Group, Inc., agent, who seek approval for a site plan review special permit. The proposed project is to construct a 93-space parking lot and perimeter pedestrian path. The application is pursuant to the Code of the Town of Harwich, Sections 325-51, 325-55, and Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Sections 9 and 11. Property is located at 397 Route 28, Assessor's Map 13, Parcel D-1. Then the parcel is approximately 136,778 square feet. The parcel is in the Commercial Highway 1 CH-1, Residential High Density 1 RH-1 zoning districts. So may I have a motion to continue this until the June 24th meeting, no sooner than 6:30 p.m.
I'm
At
so
Town
moved.
Hall.
at Town Hall. Excuse
So
me.
moved.
Excuse me.
Have a motion?
Second.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That brings us to public hearing item number PB 2025-08, continued from April 22nd, 2025. It's PB 2025-08, 715 Harwich LLC. Managers Sawmill G. Patel seeks approval for site plan review special permit and fast food / takeout special permit. The proposed project is to convert 2 existing commercial units into 1 commercial unit with an addition of 1,120 square feet and reconfiguration of the parking lot. The new commercial unit will contain a convenience store with a fast food takeout deli. The application is pursuant to the Code of Harwich, Sections 325-14O, 325-51, 325-55, and Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Sections 9 and 11. Property is located at 715 Main Street, Assessor's Map 41, Parcel D7-1, and the parcel is approximately 31,984 square feet. Parcel is in the Commercial Village CV zoning district and within the Harwich Center Overlay District, HCOD. Gentlemen, good evening. Thank you for coming again.
Hello.
So we are continuing the meeting that commenced on the 22nd of April. I have done a not a mulligan, but a Mullen Rule rehabilitation exercise. So I will be able to vote on this evening. Do we have any further updates from the town?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. And just as you indicated, this project is located at 715 Main Street and seeks approval for modification of a site plan review special permit and a fast food takeout special permit. I did want to note that it's a convenience store, but it will still remain as a liquor store as well, with a fast food takeout deli that will be limited to Board of Health approval as a condition. So in your packet is a revised staff report that includes VHP's stormwater and parking layout review and an updated revised site plan from the applicant and my updated staff review. The applicant did address the stormwater comments from VHB, and they didn't feel that there was any that any further revisions to the site plan would be required. The parking layout in terms of the turning radiuses was also done informally by VHB. I talked with Steve Rhodes, and they found that the layout was adequate for the turning radius in and out of the parking, particularly with the parking to the rear of the site going from parallel to head-on parking. So they are in conformance with the Harwich's parking requirements, and they also
And the same,
did.
just one curb cut?
Yes, well, with two curb cuts, they still have their Main Street going off out of Parallel Street. So that goes into that. The dumpster was also clearly marked as requested by staff with screening, and again, the applicant did address the VHB's stormwater comments. And if there are any questions of the board,
I'm still trying to make sure that I come up to speed. It looked to me as it was a fill-in of a notched corner of the building.
yes, my mistake. They are, just to recap, they are cornering the existing building. You'll notice to the rear, to the side,
The parallel street side of it.
Right.
yes. For parallel, but also when as you enter the building, on the westerly side of the building to the rear, they're cornering that with approximately 1,200 square foot addition.
Right.
And they're doing a 40 square foot addition to the rear of the building, on the easterly side of the building. And, so they're just literally, they're just cornering the building, and it's outlined in your staff, in the site plan.
Right. I just wanted to get the big
Squaring
picture, was it was.
They're
just a-
squaring the
Squaring it off,
building
yes.
on all four corners, so. I'm sorry, apologies for the confusion.
No confusion. I just wanted to make sure I was, it was a relatively long hearing. I mean, it wasn't, and the other question I had was there any further comments about increased traffic
No.
from the town? No discussion of that, okay.
No increased traffic, because I recommended that a traffic study was not required because it's already in a commercially dense area, surrounded with both commercial and residential, and it's a heavily trafficked area already.
Okay.
And the addition and the modest changes to the building, I didn't feel it was necessary. And when I did talk with VHB, they also they didn't think it was necessary either, so.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Thank you for your, Mary?
So I had one question, or it's maybe two. It's both a site plan fast food and a site plan revision to their original site plan, correct?
Correct.
So it should be findings of fact and then two separate motions. Do we just know the number of the original site plan so that we can refer to it for the,
We can,
For
I
the
think we've
vote.
indicated in the history of,
maybe I just missed it, I didn't see that old number in the findings.
so in the
In the
project
original.
history in 2021, PB 2022-21, they voted, the board voted unanimously for a mixed-use development special permit.
That was in 2020 or 2021?
2021.
Okay, I saw that one. Because we referenced the 2022-21. Okay.
Were there any other concerns of the board or the public that came in the interim? No? Any other questions from the board? Okay. Any comments from the applicants? perhaps we ought to consider them closing the hearing.
So, just one comment that I just wanna make. If anything changed on this plan, you might have to come back to historic just for a once over blessing, cause I'm not sure if historic saw the dumpster and the enclosure for the dumpster. And that's the only thing that I'm not sure about. So, you might wanna just check on that with them this week sometime,
Okay,
with staff.
okay. I will.
I don't have anything else. Anything else?
Any other comments?
So I move that we close the public hearing.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any nays? Motion carries unanimously.
So I would move that we adopt the following findings of fact. One, that the applicant is Samuel Patel, manager at 715 Harwich LLC. Two, the subject property is 715 Main Street, map 41, parcel D7-1. Three, the property is located in the Commercial Village, CV, and Harwich Center Overlay District, HCOD. Four, the application for a site plan review, special permit modification, and fast food / takeout use special permit was filed with the town clerk on March 14th, 2025. Five, the planning board will hold a public held a public hearing on April 22nd and May 27th, 2025. Six, in addition, the board finds that A, the use as developed will not adversely affect the neighborhood. B, the specific site is an appropriate location for such a use, structure, or condition. C, there will be no nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians. D, adequate and appropriate facilities will be provided for the proper operation of the proposed use. This includes the provision of appropriate sewage treatment facilities which provide for denitrification. When the permit granting authority deems such facilities necessary for protection of drinking water, supply wells, ponds, or saltwater abatements.
A motion, may I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously.
Just a question. Did we vote the site plan? We didn't vote the site plan, so should I vote both of them at the same time?
We usually do we do them at the same time,
Okay.
in the past, but,
Okay.
yeah,
It was all on one application.
correct,
Okay.
yes.
So then I would move that we approve with conditions case number PB 2025-08, 715 Harwich LLC, 715 Main Street, for approval of modifications of a site plan review for two additions totaling 1,165 square feet and reconfiguration of the parking lot, and approve a fast food takeout use special permit pursuant to 325-51 of the Code of the Town of Harwich for property located at 715 Main Street, map 41, parcel D7-1, in the Commercial Village, CV, and Harwich Center Overlay District, HCOD. The decision is based on the aforementioned findings of fact, and that the application meets the necessary requirements and criteria for approval pursuant to the Code of the Town of Harwich, and with the following conditions imposed relative to the special permit review. One, any revised site plan shall be approved by the town's consulting engineer and town planner prior to occupancy, the issuance of an occupancy permit?
That's already been,
Is it? Okay,
it won't be okay.
Okay.
Condition, I should have removed it.
that's fine. Two, the applicant is Samuel Patel, manager, 715 Harwich LLC. Three, the subject property is 715 Main Street, map 41, parcel D7-1. Four, the property is located in the Commercial Village, CV, and Harwich Center Overlay District, HCOD. Five, the application for a site plan review special permit modification and fast food takeout use special permit was filed with the town clerk on March 14th, 2025. Six, the planning board held a public hearing on April 22nd, 2025, and May 27th, 2025. Seven, the proposed modification to site plan review to include two additions, 1,120 and 45 square, 1,120 square feet and 45 square feet. The modification also includes the reconfiguration of the existing parking lot to increase parking from 23 to 36 spaces. The proposal includes special permit for fast food takeout restaurant. 8, the fast food takeout shall require approval by the Board of Health, and the fast food takeout permit shall be limited to serve prepared or prepackaged foods only. 9, this decision shall run with the property. Conditions of approval shall be binding on future owners. 10, the special permit shall not take effect until a copy of the decision bearing the certification of the town clerk that 20 days have elapsed after the filing of the decision, and that either no appeal has been filed or that an appeal has been filed within such time period, is recorded in the registry of deeds and indexed under the name of the property owner of record and the parcel address. 11, the special permit shall lapse within 2 years, which shall not include such time required to pursue or await the determination of an appeal referred to in General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 17, from the grant thereof, if a substantial use thereof has not sooner commenced, except for good cause, or, in the case of a permit for construction, if construction has not begun by such date except for good cause. 12, changes to the site not authorized under this decision will require further planning board review and modifications to this decision. 13, the applicant shall conform to the inspection, certification, and as-built plan requirements outlined pursuant to the Code of the Town of Harwich. And 14, any provisions of the site plan review special permit, mixed-use development special permit, and Harwich Center overlay special permit, case number PB 2022-21, not modified herein, shall remain in full force and effect.
I have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Was that it?
That was it.
Okay, that was it.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Good night.
Good night.
So, we have some updates from the town planner, but I'd like to make motions to separately approve the 4 meeting minutes in our package this evening. And I'll make the motions because I have to abstain from a couple of them. So I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes as printed for the March 11th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
Any discussion?
The agenda has 5.
Right, the May 5th are not.
Correct.
We got a message about that, okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that that's clear, that we're on approving all 5 that are listed on the agenda.
Correct. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So March 11th passed unanimously. March 25th,
Second.
we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
I abstained, I
So
wasn't there either.
We have 2 abstentions. So we have 4-2 for March 25th. That takes us to a motion to accept the minutes of the Tuesday, April 8th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
You need a second?
Oh, excuse me, second.
Second.
We have a second. Sorry, getting ahead of myself here. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have, any abstentions? 2 abstentions. No nays. And that takes us then to Tuesday, April 22nd. Make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? I have 1 abstention. Annie, are you coming in on an
No,
abstention?
I
You were
was
there?
at that
You were
one.
there, okay. So it's 5-1 with 1 abstention. Thank you very much for the excellent job on that, by the way,
Just,
Christine.
just an administrative question?
Yep.
Because we're on this one. So the case that we couldn't, that got continued tonight,
Mhm.
that we just approved the minutes of, how many can vote for that when it comes up again? Do we need to figure that out?
For the parking, for
Yeah.
Yeah. 397 Route 28.
Yeah.
So far, I can,
I will not be at the June 24th meeting.
okay. Good to know,
Yeah.
so thank
I
you.
think that's, yeah, June 24th.
So it's the April, what was what, the April 22nd meeting?
Yes.
Yep.
April-
April
So that
This is
was,
the
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we had
So
6 that evening on April
Right.
22nd.
So
Duncan was the only one absent.
Right.
So Ellen,
Alan, yourself,
Emily, myself.
Emily, Harry, Ann, and Annie.
Okay,
Everybody.
so we can
Yeah.
vote, okay.
I'm sorry?
So we know who can vote on this?
Correct.
For June 24th, and Annie's not gonna be there, got it.
And are you rehabilitated, Duncan?
Yes, I am fully rehabilitated and
Okay.
feeling
I just wanted to say,
marvelous.
I just had to say.
And
You look
Ellen,
a little different.
and Ellen's the rehabilitation cell
Okay.
for tonight, for,
Right.
That's just,
Well, he doesn't need
He
to,
doesn't need it,
because
'cause
we
we just
continued,
continued.
It's just
no
a-
testimony.
right
just
now.
in response to these long cases, like,
Yeah.
are we all gonna be there, who can vote, who cannot vote? Yeah, okay, thanks for that.
I did have an A&R that I do need signatures from our last meeting, if we don't mind, if I can grab that before everyone leaves. And if I may, can I
Please.
just,
By all means.
we are still progressing on the local comprehensive plan, going through all of the priorities. So hopefully we will have a final draft at the end of June for that. And we'll be taking that out to the public as well as some town boards and committees for their final blessing. And so it's very exciting to see that start to coalesce and come to completion. So
And I'm making an appearance before that group at some point this month. Just
Okay.
not as a member of this board, but as simply if somebody's interested in the subject matter.
Okay.
So hopefully I'm just gonna have an appendix that'll appear in the document, final document.
great. Yes, and you can reach out to Joyce McIntyre. So
Yeah, I have.
perfect.
We're all set.
And for Pine Oaks Village 4, again, there was a filing in April, just to get everyone up to speed. The Zoning Board of Appeals held their first meeting on Thursday, April 24th, and town boards and committees were asked to submit comments, so we're just doing a reminder to ask for board members to consider any comments relative to the project, and if there are any concerns regarding the project, any issues need to really be focused on or limited in scope to public safety, public health, and environmental impacts. Their next meeting is June 18th. The main topic of discussion will be traffic and public safety. So the applicant will provide, their team will do a presentation, and then the town's peer review consultant, which is VHB, will also present their evaluation of the project. I've attended 2 site visits over the last several weeks, and all of the materials are located up on the town's website. If there's an opportunity, if we want to do a more informal discussion or organize some comments, I'm happy to take any comments from board members and coalesce them into an outline. I will be sending out all of the town department comments from when the town did submit their comments for the project eligibility letter to the state. And so if there's any additional information, I'm asking if this board could send me any information or thoughts. And I know, Ann, you had asked that we reserve some time for June 10th. Or Mary may have asked for June 10th to talk about Pine Oaks briefly. So I'm asking if you have an opportunity to please go through the application. It's very comprehensive, lots of materials. We also have hard copies in our office. So just the only thing I ask is if you want to come in and evaluate any hard copies, just give us a call and we can arrange for that. We just need a little lead time to make sure everyone has all of the documents, and we can provide a space for you to go through them. Yes.
can go ahead first.
Oh, two questions, actually. June 18th, where's the meeting located?
It's going to
Where
be
and
at the 204 Sisson Building.
Yeah, okay.
204 Sisson Road Cultural Center Building.
But our,
Prog-
And that's gonna be at 6:30 PM.
6:30, okay. That was question one. Question two is, have there been any design changes since it was first proposed to the public?
There hasn't been any proposal to the public outside of the Pell letter, so there have been some,
Well, I mean, they had that hearing, you know.
the select board had
Right.
taken community input, so, not a lot has changed. There have been some refinements in terms of the open space, more information on the stormwater, more information on their environmental impacts, and more visual, aesthetics.
But they're not changing
architectural
the
renderings.
quantity of
They,
the
Right.
number
rooms.
for me?
it's still, 242 units.
242.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
Or Mary, go.
I was just gonna ask, in your review so far, has there been anything that is concerning to you that it would be helpful to have the planning board back up your staff opinion as far as the zoning board of appeals is concerned? And the state is concerned, really?
I think it just for.
And it may be too early to ask that question
It
of
might
you
be a
either,
little bit
but-
too, a little premature for me to respond,
Yeah.
but there are some, there are just a few items that I think, if there's an opportunity to comment, the status of the emergency services in terms of having a second form of access, from the property, and, just to ensure better public safety and better access from Main Street, because there's what we're considering to be an ancient way, where the applicant has made, where the applicant,
Are they considering the ancient way access and egress?
they're considering it as an established road, and
Has-
so
has
it hasn't been determined as such, and so they have submitted some documentation. Town council is evaluating that, so I'm going to leave that to town council to continue to work on. The assessing director and I did do an evaluation several months back, and we didn't feel that there was a clear demonstration that this was an adequate road. And so safe and adequate access had not been determined for what's commonly referred to as an access road, so-called. And so that has been, so just having a second access point is something that they have presented, and more information relative to that. But as of right now, they're presenting it as an emergency access road, and not a full road for public use of the residents. It's going to be exclusively for emergency services only.
So will they be paving that?
I believe so, but
I
I
was gonna say,
will,
have you been out there? Have you seen that?
we've
Okay.
done the 2 site visits, we have walked that, and, so right now it is a, trail, or half of it is,
That's right. It's like
yeah.
half of it, you can see that they're axle
so we don't need
vehicles
to
have
get,
gone.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, it's gonna be interesting
Yeah.
to see how this, because it's probably the only road in Harwich that goes back to the history books to the 1660s.
Mhm. And so in terms of the use, it's still, so the use and whether or not the road is sufficient is an issue, and that's something that VHB will be evaluating. And just to make sure that the easements and the size of the road are appropriate for, given the size of the project.
Just to add to that,
Mhm.
at one point they were in front of us and then withdrew for specifically that reason.
They had presented an A&R, and that was withdrawn.
Yes.
Because staff had recommended that the road had not been, that it had not been demonstrated that the road was predating 1949 subdivision control law, and therefore the lots did not have adequate access on a private or public way.
Wouldn't
So
be-
they didn't meet the criteria of an approval not required.
Oh,
So
okay.
they need to create a road
And to,
as part of Massachusetts subdivision control law. And because of the comprehensive permit, they will need to also address, they will, as part of their proposal, they are addressing, they do have a road that's looped in to service all of the residents in the
Okay.
apartments.
so it changed, so their plan changed and added that road in the back, is that correct?
No, and half of Vanassus Road is, it will be reserved for emergency services. That's not part of their property.
Oh,
So, and I can grab a, site plan if you want to take a closer look at it and walk you through that,
well, just in terms
information.
of, you had said our comments should be about
Public safety,
public safety, and this is,
public health, and environmental impacts.
Emergency access is part of public safety.
right,
so-
so if we had a comment about a building development of this size, 260 or something,
No, 242.
242, thank you, with only one access, our comment can be it needs a second access?
You,
Is
yes.
it stating the
you
obvious,
can-
or is it,
Yep.
should
You
we
can-
state the obvious?
If you feel
Yeah.
that
Okay.
that a second access, is required, then yes.
Okay, so that's a valuable,
Mhm.
I remember the background and, you know, all of that stuff, and then the issue is they don't own it, correct?
Wouldn't have to own an ancient way. So ancient ways
Oh,
are,
we're into
are
the ancient
strange,
way of crazy, okay.
it's a strange
Ancient way
animal.
crazy, got it.
So it's gonna, like, whatever council ends up saying on it.
Council is going to evaluate it, and so we've
But
been
it-
advised it's not, for safety purposes, it's important to question whether or not the road has access. Our peer review is going to look at
But-
whether or not what they're presenting is appropriate.
So it's appropriate for this group to make a comment like, basically, you need a second access point.
Right.
Okay,
And if
that's-
we
yeah.
did make that comment, wouldn't we need to cite a regulation rather than just 6 people having an opinion that there should be another road?
Yeah, that's a good
To
point.
be honest, I think that is our opinion with roads, because we're responsible generally under zoning for curb cuts and
Road-
streets,
Right.
so, and subdivisions, so
So we don't have to cite anything specific?
Well,
if we had something, it'd be great, but I think our subdivision rules and regulations probably do have something, but
I think I'm just looking at it from, a litigation point of view. If you're gonna try to enforce something that's gonna cause the applicant to, have to invest money or make it impossible for the applicant to comply for some reason, you'd better be able to cite some regulation rather than just 6 of us saying we think it'd be a good idea.
so I understand your point too, but it also comes down to the comprehensive permit is all about waiving local zoning,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So- so
it's.
we can have our input, but ZBA gets to say, and then ultimately the state ends up getting to say
Right.
whether they even follow the zoning.
Is that what you were gonna say?
Yes, I was going to say, to Harry's point, I think it is important for the board to cite the regulation. And we do have road design standards that require like a certain length, width,
It's all the
for X
emergency-
number of
yeah.
units. So that is important. And I'm happy to go over those design standards and provide that as a packet for information for your reference. And again, I do agree, if we can be as specific as possible, and the applicant has listed all of the waivers that if they were going through normal, regulatory processes, whether it was conservation, planning, or ZBA, they have a list of all of the
Where-
requested waivers. So
where is
that's
that?
part of the application packet, and I can I can pull that out and forward that to
Or just,
everyone as
yeah,
well.
tell us which page it is,
Yep.
because I remember that's quite a large document.
Yes, it's fairly comprehensive, so more I will send, an outline of that, of the requested waivers to make sure that you are all aware of that. And also some of our requirements that we normally would have, if we were to look at a subdivision, what would we be considering? And, not that that's relative to the comprehensive permit, and I want to be clear on that
Right.
too, because the zoning board of appeals has a very narrow scope of how they can raise concerns relative to the project.
Right.
And, so just please, keep that in mind.
All right, to that point, two things
Mm-hmm.
from memory, and they may not be in our purview, but there was a lot of discussion over who gets the housing, like workforce, or how Harwich residents get
Local
or whether
preference.
it's a lottery, right? There was a lot of discussion. I don't know where it ended up. And it may be that there is no preference point, or, so that's one,
And I think if that's something that's of interest to the board, I think, asking the ZBA to consider local preference options,
if there are any. I don't know
to
where that-
encourage them to condition that as,
Oh, condition it for local,
yes.
okay.
Or to ask the applicant for information regarding local preference. And, because the application does have all of the income limits
Yes, it
and the
does.
number of units, bedrooms,
It's true, that was
Mhm.
just one of the sticking points, so that would be helpful. And then this is a little bit left field, but what the heck? They had it's a 10-year build, correct?
yes, it'll
And
be
the-
built over phases.
Right, and the community center and I believe the daycare center are like mid to late in that build?
I'm not, I'll need to go back and check the phasing of that.
Is there a way
Okay.
to say, build that kind of, that stuff earlier? Is there any leeway? Because that's always, in 10 years, anything could happen, right?
That could be a request of the board or just something to note in terms of scheduling and the phasing of construction. But again, something like that will be more predicated with the applicant and their financial structure to the overall project.
Oh, absolutely, it's just, when you can put your oar in the water for a moment, is that one of the waves to make? Like, I want to be alive to see that it comes with a community center and daycare,
Yes,
kind of thing. Okay.
I think
Okay,
that-
so that's
that
a
would be fine.
reasonable, okay,
Yep.
reasonable comment.
comment to make, yes.
Okay.
Is ZBA's purview, does that also include infrastructure and support? Because that was.
It's everything.
It's everything, because
Yep.
I think one of the things that resonated with what we see here is traffic load, roads, roadbed maintenance, volume of traffic kind of a thing, and I think, I recall hearing a lot of pushback on that by the local residents up there. So it's one of those things that I want to just flag. I'm just saying it mentally for myself in a way.
So traffic has been raised multiple times, and we need to be very clear that it's, Queen Anne Road is a very heavily trafficked road already, and the ZBA has to maintain that the purview can't be about Queen Anne Road. It really has to be more about the internal traffic layout and site design. There are some issues of safety that, relative to Queen Anne Road, but it's very tricky to condition an applicant to make improvements to a road that they don't own. Queen Anne Road is a town-owned road, so there are limitations, but the ZBA is well aware of that, and they do want to work with the applicant and the town to see what improvements, if any, could be made to accommodate
a
The
caution
development.
light or something
Yeah.
around a curve, things like that.
Any
right?
other
That would be
transportation
the
improvement.
But
But
when
it
you
can,
get
but
242 units, there's gonna be a certain number of kids,
Yes,
which means bikes and industrial
don't go well together.
zoning, yeah, they don't really, that's my big hang up with that. so.
Even, even the flashing lights that are on the bike trails or whatever, anything.
Mhm.
We had talked about that, okay. And can you just aim us at this, where the number of waivers they need is?
it's within the application in their first, in the first volume. We have several volumes
I know
of
we do.
inf-
I'm going back to April
transportation
trying
and
to remember.
environmental, so I will pull that out, and if I can just scan it and copy it and send that to all of you, I will
Yes.
do that, to make it easier. And if there's anything else relative to the project, let me know. But I just want to reemphasize those 3 points in terms of any concerns, public safety, public health, or environmental impacts.
Okay, so those three, and you need those comments from us to you by?
If you can get them to me, within the first week of June, that would be great. We're hoping to, submit comments to the applicant, by June 11th, to give them 1 week to just have a week to look at, any comments from boards or departments.
So
And-
we'd stay within this kind of narrow lane that we've just talked about?
Yes.
Write our comments up in these 3 areas,
Mhm.
send them to you, and you'll massage them and put them together. Do we review them, or do you then just pass them on?
That will be at the discretion of the board. I'd prefer to have your blessing, as appropriate, if that's okay. At maybe the June 10th meeting, if I pull together an outline and
Perfect.
if that's okay.
That's
Yeah,
great.
if we get you
Okay.
comments, if you could put together like a letter to the ZBA on our
Mhm.
behalf, then we can,
Then
Vote
we're
on it
done.
at the meeting,
Yeah.
right?
So it's on
Yes.
us to give
you know,
these back to you.
Mhm.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
And this ancient way, does it have a name or anything that we should?
Anassus
refer-
Road,
Anassus. A-N.
so
you
called.
said
Anassus.
some of it
Anassus,
dates
whatever.
back to
Seventeen-
I'm
17th
mispronouncing
century.
it. Anassus is not the correct.
I've heard it Anassus way
Thank you.
and Anassus, so
Is it, and it's not a road, it's a way,
ancient way.
so we have to, okay.
And it's actually fun to go out there because it's kind of like a Daphne du Maurier movie, because you know that this was an early like Native American pathway, commercial way. It's like hundreds and hundreds of people were doing with this for, half a millennium almost, so.
One of the things that we have in New England that doesn't exist almost anyplace else, right?
That's exactly right. And
13
It's a-
original colonies. We all know
It's
that.
also
The
at the-
Midwest never thinks of it that
And
way.
the head of this is the other thing, the head of the Herring River up there, which is way up there in that area too,
Yeah.
there are carved stones and kind of flints, what do you call them, arrowheads, that date back 7,500 years. 7,500 years is 1,500 years older than the oldest pyramid in Giza. So we're talking about long-standing human habitation in this area, which I think is something, again, we don't pay adequate attention to.
What were
Not
they
that it has
using
to
the
do-
road for?
Hmm?
Were they fishing out there?
I don't know, it's probably, if you look at it, it looked like it was the original 134. It bisected the Cape from the bicep to the tricep, from bay to
Google
sound.
Earth or something and you can see it.
You can't really see it that well, but you can see it, get at the Payne volume on archive.org, and he's got these fold-out maps from, he wrote it in the 1890s, and you can see it.
So if it was that long, then parts of it have been dealt with in the modern era.
Right.
So it might be worthwhile, if we're going to give some sort of recommendation, that we find out how the other parts of that ancient way were dealt with for development, whatever.
Well, I
land
think it's just
transfer.
more incumbent on us to pay attention to it, because periodically, every few years, we get an ancient way, or like a path, right?
It might not have had anything on it. It
Right.
could be like
It's a black hole of ancient ways,
could be.
right? Yeah.
But it's a trip, you know, it's kind of worth checking it out if you can see it, because, you know,
They are kind of cool, we
Yeah.
gotta, even if they're a pain, right? They are. Okay, thank you for that.
Okay.
any further business before the board? Do we have anything else to look forward to, other than the June 10th deadline, June 10th meeting, June 24th at 2:04?
So our June 10th.
June
June-
10th at 2:04, June 24th
24th at
here
here,
at the town hall.
yes.
And
And I will pick a date for if we do continue the public hearing to a third night, I will have a location
Okay.
identified, so.
And can you just flag anything where it's really important for us to show up, since this summer's getting filled with
Out of control.
Summer stuff.
summer
Yes.
stuff?
And I will note, I'll send out an extended schedule of what we have coming, because we have several
Great.
multifamily
Yeah, we got,
projects coming up, in addition to what is already on the docket.
oh, new
So,
stuff.
New stuff,
Oh,
yes. If there's so I will send that out also this week. And again, I do appreciate everyone's patience with Meg gone. There's a lot
Oh, no.
going on over in our.
What did I miss?
What
Oh, no,
happens
Meg-
in-
Meg-
No,
Vacation.
Meg is on military duty
Oh,
for the
okay.
last
God bless her.
2 months. So, or from the end of April to the end of June. So.
So Christine's been flying solo,
Oh,
so
geez.
Yeah, she wasn't, she was flying solo, and then
got Meg.
she finally got Meg.
Actually, I have a
Meg's
point of
bringing-
clarification. I was poking around this town website
Mhm.
and was looking at the local planning committee. And in the definition, under the overview, it says the local planning committee will be advisory to the planning board and will work with the town planner and planning consultant. So the comprehensive plan I get, but are there instances that I'm not aware of where that committee has been advisory to the planning board? I mean, they've never attended one of our meetings that I've been to,
They've
and,
made reports to us.
yeah,
like
I've seen
progress
some
reports.
documentation from them and some discussion of their work.
They tell us rather than ask.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
well, I mean,
But
if
what-
they're an asset that we're supposed to rely on, maybe we should rely on them in some way. I don't know what way that would be.
Well, I think the local comprehensive plan is the purview of the planning board, and we're required, so come, September, when, prior to the town meeting, we will have we're required to hold a public hearing and make a recommendation to town meeting, to support the plan. And so we've made, several, updates. I try to make sure that you're informed, and also encourage you, if you want to attend any of the meetings and provide any input relative to the work. Because we also did, as part of the local comprehensive plan, we also had the housing production plan in addition to the open space and recreation plan. So I hope to, I like to consider that I've tried to make that information and that line of communication between the two boards. Because they're also not staffed, so I've been involved in that process as well. So I have tried to be sort of the liaison and go between the planning board and the local planning committee.
If the comprehensive plan is the purview of the planning board,
Mm-hmm.
I, for one, would say that I don't feel like I've been intimately involved in it, and I really wouldn't want to have to get put up against the wall right now and ask questions about the process, the content, or almost anything about it other than what I've had the time to review. So if we're going to be presenting it at some point as a work product of this board, I don't think we should have 11 other people doing the work.
Well, that was appointed by the select board. That was the arrangement when they did the contract, and that also came with the approval of the planning board as part of this process. So prior to my arrival, that was the.
Well,
that-
my only point
no,
is that
to- yep.
if it's going to be defined in some way as a work product of this board,
Mhm.
maybe we should separate ourselves from it and make it clear that we aren't actually developing or intimately and directly involved in developing what is going to come out of that process.
I think that's the de facto reality.
We
Yeah.
have
And
to,
the,
we have to approve it,
right.
so we have no
We will
choice.
vote on it,
so we
and
can,
we'll have a hearing on it, but.
we can vote it down, we can tell them we don't like it, but ultimately, the local comprehensive plan doesn't get approved without the planning board's approval.
To what extent do we have the ability to offer input to change it, significant input to change it?
Nothing
We've had-
significant, probably, because they've subcontracted,
No, I know.
And
so.
they spent $250,000 on
Yeah.
it. So
It's
And
been
this
being
has
worked
been
on for 2
ongoing
years.
for over 2 years, so.
advisory is the catchword, right?
Correct.
That's the one that all of us stumble on. How advisory are they?
Advisory
They
to-
ran the program pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any problem with what they're doing, the fact they're doing it. I don't feel like, I'm not suggesting that we have any conflict with the local planning committee, other than the fact when you said it's the purview of this board, I, for one, just my opinion, I don't feel a direct connection to that process. I know it's been offered to us for suggestions, and we've made some suggestions, but it seems like, why not let them take credit for it if they're actually doing the work? Why would it, I mean, okay, we
They
get,
are taking credit.
we get approval, that's fine, that's part of the process.
We did spend some time on the housing production plan.
Yeah.
And that was
Well,
the one I had,
they've had hearings too that we were supposed to attend. So there was one over at there were two over
at the 204.
at Community
Community
Center.
Center.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And then they've had 2 meetings with the Board of Selectmen, so like, there are feedback loops, and they've come here. So there have been some loops and everything, but they've got a sealed process that they're kind of moving ahead with, so. That was my concern, that's why I'm saying, look, there's a piece here that I think belongs in that. I'm not going to try and shape your table of contents or the topic, but I think this belongs in a shelf there in your appendix that this has been said. That's my only desire. And the bulk of that is that there's a lot of qualitative research that they're missing out on. So that's my.
And here-
Yes.
If I may, there's been extensive community outreach in terms of surveys as well as 2 community input sessions in addition to, we have meetings once a month or sometimes twice a month over the last like 6 or 8 months, just to try and coalesce all of the work that we've been doing to finalize, to kind of come to have this, to create a final work product, if you may. But in the future going forward, maybe I should be a little more clear on certain responsibilities and to make sure that this board feels more included in the planning processes.
Well, if it's going, we are gonna have a special town meeting in the fall, yes?
That's my understanding.
To only approve this, or are there other things?
I don't know. That will be up to the select board.
We always threaten to have a second meeting, we almost never do, so,
We always used to, it's only the last couple of years.
the last couple of years,
Yeah, we always had a second.
Okay,
Got it?
we have done this in 54 minutes, that's not bad.
It's
For the healthy conversation, thank you all for that. I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Can we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You want to abstain? We're all good. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, just give us a heads up.
Yes, thank you. I did want to just grab the A&R if I can get your signature.
wait.
Yes, please.
Yep.
Just a heads up on the